Going to do a little update on gun values, both mil surplus and just used guns in general. Okay. If you like the content, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment if you would. Now, I made a few videos updating some of the recent stuff that has come in, the Bulgarian Makarov pistols and the Springfield low serial number receiver rifles, which they've come in large enough quantity to where they are being offered by 2 or 3 different websites. So it seems everybody's interested on the current trends of, your mil surplus guns. So I've been looking, I've scoured a couple auctions. I took the time to go through some auctions and was looking at some other stuff. And then I'll say things like, I found an auction that had one of these FR8s in there. Now, generally at an auction, now bear in mind with these auctions, it's like 24%, okay, commission on your bid price. I seen one of these go for 6 C notes, but if you add in the commission, it's almost 1.5. You're looking at 7.5 C notes, okay, which is about what the going rate is, top dollar. There are people that ask more, more towards 1K and that, but that's what you're looking at. These, and along with any of the Finnish rifles like the 30, the 27, 29, those in that area there, they're hanging in there at 7, depending on how good they are, 7, 8. And they haven't seen the asking price hasn't gone down. But like I said, with the economy being bad, I'm seeing a lot more stuff come up in auctions, and I see these auction houses having auctions more frequently. Now, one local dealer must have got a huge collection or assortment of firearms from somewhere, and the Mosin are gone. Now, because YouTube and Facebook, you can't put a price on there, he doesn't list the price when he reviews the items. You have to call and talk to him or travel to the store. But it was kind of interesting. What they had was mostly M91s, because at one time they were all over the place, the M91s, which were basically reissued in Finland. Okay? You'll find some that were rebarreled in the 40s, but you'll find some of them that were still in good condition, had the SA, they call it Finn Capture or whatever, had the SA stamped on there, but they'll be original 91 Mosins. And like he would do 20, 30 guns, and I'd say 75% of them were some sort of Mosin gun. They had 9130s, they had some carbines in there, M44s and that. So this was somebody that obviously went around and bought a ton of these rifles because they were a C note or less. Bought a pile of them, okay? And now, I don't know if he passed away, or maybe he got hit with a financial thing. He wants to dump the whole lot. And that's one of the things when you collect and your collection gets somewhat large, trying to move it all at once, you might not get the maximum value out of it. But then again, we don't know. An emergency, or like I said, this may be an estate for all I know. But Mosins are hanging in there about 3.5. You will see them come up on the auctions. They don't go too crazy with them. And a lot of the auctions, I just sat and went through one the other day. And the auction starts this Friday. And it was, what's today? Today's Wednesday. So I was looking. And they have a minimum bid. And I guess wherever this place was, it's the collection of somebody. So obviously it must be an estate. Okay? And there were several interesting milsurp rifles. There was a nice rifle length M95, Austrian M95, in the 8x56, which are hard to find. And this auction house did give you the bore condition, which they said there was sharp rifling in there, no rust, no pitting. So, and the start bid is like 1.5 C. Okay, so I'm like, hell, because those used to go for, they were hard to find. They converted a lot of the rifles down, and they were hard to find in the full rifle length. So those were at about 3.5. Get it for 2. And that paid a 24%, you still come out all right with it, depending with the shipping and that. Like I said, a lot of these places, one place had a 15% commission, and I bought a few guns and thought that was good. Then I got hit with a $65 handling charge or something, so all of these places. The best thing to do is if you get burnt by one of them or kind of overcharged, don't do business with them. It's simple as that. And some other guns I noticed out there, the Swiss bed release. There was one, it appeared to be refinished, or it may have been a very late one, like this, and it was in really good condition. Okay, and that went for 4.5, almost 5. So if you can find one that hasn't been monkeyed around or sporterized and in good shape, because some of these things, are in pretty nasty condition, you're looking at almost 5 bills. And then again, this is another gun, much like the Mosin the gun. The Swedish Mauser, very popular. They're a very accurate gun. And really, you rarely find one that's beat up or with a shot out bore. Okay. The Swedes really didn't fight a lot of wars, and the guns, even though they've seen use, are usually in good condition. You might find some with the exterior finish worn, but I really never found one that was worn out and didn't shoot halfway decent. So they're very popular, and they were getting up there, and you can find some that are in mint condition. I mean really mint. A very desirable gun. These were going for around 6 C notes, say, for a real decent one. And you can find them. I think my neighbor got one on a deal. He only went 4.5 on his. And it's not in bad shape. It's in pretty good shape. And I see a lot of these pop up in auction. Sometimes the auction will have 3 or 4 of these, because people know it's a desirable gun, and if you're trying to get some value out of your collection or your accumulation, this would be one of the ones here to do it with. And you'll see them go up sometimes around 4C, something like that. But then again, like I said, with a 24% thing on there, it's going to bump that thing up to, close to that 6 mark again. And a lot of people in the auctions that know this, that's why you'll see the bidding go. So to say in general, really, even with the financial crisis and even with people putting a lot of stuff up for sale, I'm not seeing a very drastic downturn in the price. Okay, that's kind of holding. Maybe a little bit, there's more stuff available, and if you're in the auctioning thing, you gotta understand how the auctions work, but then when you do the math, it's all kind of coming out to the baselines prior to the economic downturn. Then when it comes to just sporting guns or handguns and things like that, I guess that God, Guns and Country or Family, he goes into that one gun shop and talks with that woman about all of this. And what used firearms, Colts, Rugers, depends. The used guns, you go to different gun shops, you're going to find it varies, okay? She was saying people during the rush would have bought a firearm of some sort and come back and find out they're only going to get offered 60%, or they're going to only get offered like 40 or below 50% of what they paid. About a 60% loss in some cases, okay? So that's pretty detrimental to a lot of people, and it varies strangely, and she brought up the point, it varies from where you are. Okay, your location does make a difference, because they were saying that people who like drive truck or travel across several states and just stop in gun shops to see what's there, have said that the prices vary on used guns very wildly. Okay, what the gun shop is asking for them. Sometimes there's something that looks like a deal, and sometimes it's not. So there is no big downturn. You'd think in this economy, a lot of things are available now. How well they sell, are they getting the full value, which a lot of us think that the value is a little high or unreasonable. But it doesn't look like, like I said, when you do the math, it doesn't look like things are coming down that much. I think the people who are losing is, say, like the Swedish Mauser, the guy gave 4 for it, and I don't know what the person who put the item in the auction will end up receiving. I don't know if there's a percentage taken by the auction house that way. But if you lay down about 5 or so, the person who purchased your rifle is going to pay probably 6, and you might get 4 or, less. So you see, it's very tricky how you go about disposing or how you go about purchasing guns. But it looks like the prices are holding steady, and there's really with these last batches of like the Makarovs and that for almost 6C for the whole 9 yards, the holster, lanyard, 2 mags. It looks like prices are holding, okay? So that's kind of what it looks like right at the moment, and what's going to happen here in the future. I don't know if the economy is going to get a lot worse towards the end of the year, which it could. So this may shift the dynamics greatly in the used gun value department. Okay? All right. Thank you, and stay tuned.